afternoon, Hartlepool United fans and Dagenham Redbridge fans, and welcome to the Pools preview show here live at a very glorious Victoria Park for this Good Friday 1 PM kickoff. So let's have a little look at the opposition today. Dagenham Redbridge only faced Hartlepool 2 games ago in that 1-0 victory for Dave Challoner's men, but then the Daggers did go and beat Torquay on Saturday with Balanta getting the only goal of the game, as they currently sit 16th in the National League table. Moving on to Hartlepool United, and their last game came at Stockport on Saturday, so let's jump straight into the action and see Dave Challoner's initial reaction.
About 5 times over, it's almost £1,000 last time to support it. Anyone on the left over at Cheadle end after the starts. Problems this time, they are on the way. Hartlepool United in their gold shirts, gold shorts and green socks. County, of course. Far side, leading to a free kick for Dave Challoner's side. And a good chat with Dave Challoner before kick-off. And I've got to say, when you look, John, at his managerial record, absolutely outstanding. Promotion to Green Bay, particularly, and then AFC filed was at a terrific time. And given that his budget was so heavily slashed, he's done well this season too.
That's the extraordinary thing, with a much reduced budget. He's put together a team that certainly has competed for promotion from this league. And he's of course, an ex-Stockport County player who paid £120,000 for Dave Challoner in 2002, so it's nice to see him back with such a strong team.
Early set piece for Hartlepool. On the far side, an opportunity to put the ball in with a bit of pace. It's an awkward delivery, and at full stop, Josh Palmer's turned behind for a corner. I think there was a shout from Ben Hinchcliffe, but he didn't hear it. And if you don't hear it, John, you can't assume anything. He had to take charge of that.
Well, very frustrating with his teammate on the right hand side there, Gavin Holohan. There's a misunderstanding between the two players. Holohan, we've not seen much of him at all in this half, John.
Holohan dispossesses it. Palmer didn't approach that with any real conviction. It's a chance for Shelton on the edge of the 6-yard box. It was always bouncing away from him after some good work by Armstrong. Just embarrassed Palmer there. That was a tricky moment for the county captain. Armstrong. You could see what he was trying to do, John, but it didn't quite come off.
It's honestly into the great line. Good break from South and Hales there, putting Ferguson under pressure and keep Ferguson back in his defence.
Across from Cass, the diving header, comes from Holohan, Gavin Holohan, the Irish midfielder, with the header on the edge of the 6-yard box. County let him go, and it's the opening goal. What a ball in, and what a header to give Hartlepool the lead, 1-0.
Well, Holland's had a quiet game, John, and just a great ball in there from Cass. Was it Jordan Keane who was perhaps caught a little bit
Years of age, right-sided players. Crawley South and Hales takes the throw. Look at that, straight back to the halfway line to get the game on again. But the Irishman is struck, and that's what he's capable of.
It's a good analogy. There's been some great performances across the pitch from both players at both teams.
Neither side giving a point. There goes the final whistle. It's finished. 1 apiece here at Edgley Park. Nothing much to write home about in the first 45 minutes into the second half.
I said all lads have been brilliant, and like I say, that belief has gradually increased, and I say the result we've got today is tinged with disappointment, which shows how far we've come, and will stand us in good stead moving forward for the rest of the season. We want to be involved in big games at the back end, and even without a crowd today was always going to be a big game in 2 teams that I say are up near the top of the table.
So there was all the action from Stockport and Dave Challoner's instant reaction. Next part of the show, I want to introduce you to John Pearson. John is a member of the new fans group, the Heart of the Club 1908. So we spoke to John yesterday about his new club and what his aims are for the future. Right, gents, thank you so much for joining us here on the Pils preview show. Hartlepool fans may have just seen an announcement earlier on today where we've launched, or yourselves have launched, Heart of the Club 1908. So it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you and find out a little bit more for myself and for Hartlepool fans. I suppose I'll just start off and just say, why now? Why now to start Heart of the Club 1908? And John, I'll go to you first.
Well, it's a good question, but it isn't really why. It isn't like now. We've been wanting to launch this for quite some time, really. And it all started from the chairman. The chairman a year ago now got us all together, got all the different fans groups together. It was pre-pandemic, it was pre-COVID. There was obviously problems ahead. And he asked a specific question of all the fan groups. Do we think the appetite's there amongst the fans to help and contribute financially towards the stability and future good of the club, to be honest. So from that direct question and the plea for help, I guess, from the chairman, we've ended up where we are now with the Heart of our Club 1908.
It's a great incentive, and obviously the Hartlepool fans have read this morning why and can get information from that statement. Michael, I suppose a lot of fans will be wondering after reading that statement is what is the main purpose of this group and how can you directly help Hartlepool United, but the Hartlepool United community as well?
Yeah, so I think so John sort of reached out to me, and obviously live in Edinburgh but from Hartlepool originally, and one of the things I think John talked about is what Heart of Midlothian had actually done in terms of the association there helping Hearts at a time when they were clearly in financial distress. And I guess one of the things behind this group is trying to identify the things that we can do, as you say, Alex, for the community and the club. The club is at the heart of the community in Hartlepool, and I think what we want to do is try and work with the club to identify what are the things that we can make the Vic a better place to be for spectators. Ultimately, we can try and look at sort of youth football and whether try and generate funds to have people playing for the club at youth levels. Look at facilities at the stadium, and just not necessarily always focus on the playing side, because that is ultimately the chairman, the manager, and all that good stuff. But really trying to make the club something that the town is proud of, and that ultimately fans in the community want to use, they want to see grow. And that really was the idea behind it. And that, as I say, is what a number of clubs have done, but particularly close to me here in Edinburgh, with Hearts, is put that community, the club at the centre of the community.
Martin, you must be so encouraged to launch this now with the success that's going on the pitch as well. And I know how much you want to help the club as three fans. And as a fan myself, over the moon to see what Dave Challoner's doing with the team and where our season's going. So it must be an extra encouragement and motivation to help the club even more and help the club as much as you can with the Heart of the Club 1908.
Yeah, Alex, please call me Marty, by the way. No one calls me Martin, that's a Sunday name, but everyone knows me as Marty in Hartlepool. Yeah, I guess just echoing what both John and Mike was saying there. I've been involved in the club all my life in various levels. I even played for the club, and the last couple of years I've been helping with some of the supporters clubs, and we've been helping with some charity stuff. I've been predominantly helping with the golf days, etc. But really, what John said when Raj reached out, and we're all obviously the heart of the club says it in the words. Hartlepool's one road in, one road out, and it's a community club. And one thing for me personally, I wanted for me future grandkids, I wanted somewhere for the club to. I didn't want that to go under. And Raj coming in, and we thankfully did, and he survived. So we've got loads of. Mike mentioned community ideas. There's a lot of stuff. We've had some discussions. John's had some preliminary discussions with the club, and it's really, for me, it's really working with the club but really growing the community, working with, you mentioned the kids football, getting the fan base, getting under 16s. There's been a lot of effort in the last 12 months on that, but prior to the lockdown, and really, and then also the other growing area, which I think is one area we want to explore, is the ladies football, and really getting more. So it doesn't matter what supporters club you're at, we're all trying that. We've all got the same aim, and it's for survival, longevity, so that hopefully my grandkids and thereafter can then go and support the club like I have all my life. So the passion for me was survival. I'm a local guy, brought up. All my friends, we go to pools together. We go for a pint, and we just want to maintain that. We don't want to go back to, unfortunately, what happened to Darlington like that. We won't let that happen. That was my driver. And when John approached me to see if I could help out,
it really just shows, because I know what you guys echo how the whole fan base feel about wanting your grandkids and how many years to be able to enjoy pools just as much as we do on a Saturday. You mentioned there, and the question for anyone really, you mentioned there about under 16s football, women's football, and I know you've said in your press release, obviously that's one of your main focuses, obviously within the community, but not just what in terms of them playing football, but also encouraging more under 16 and more women to come along to games and support pools and be a part of that community as well.
Do you want me to expand that, John? Yeah, I can. We've already got some connections. There's a lot of football. It's a growing, obviously all the kids football. If you look at some of the clubs in the town, and we've got contacts, and my son played for a club, unfortunately passed away, but there's a lot of connections. We want to get out and reach out and collaborate with them and make sure that the club idea a couple of years ago, where they let all the kids in from the schools for £5, you bring your children, and there was a lot, and the rink end was full, and I think that's what obviously the northwest corner has been growing. We're getting a fan base, but we want to try and expand that and really reach out, work with the local schools. There's already clubs established. We want to obviously engage with the club, and we're going to be working with obviously Raj and Phil to try and get more collaboration and the community of that level, and we might be the interface which underpins and helps support that reach out to the local community, because it hasn't been a bit siloed over the years, to be fair, but I think at the moment, especially with the team doing well, the passion in the town, it's unbelievable. Even though we can't go out, you can just feel the buoyancy, and if the club's doing well, everyone's doing well. And I think for me personally, I think we are going to be one of the things I'll be supporting on the board, trying to reach out to the clubs and getting some collaboration and see what we can do together, and working with the club to improve and explore further opportunities with the kids and the ladies football.
Like Marty said, the kids are the future. So if we can get the kids involved in any way, just get them down to the ground, give them a match day experience. They're the future, and they're the people, we want to attract, but we also want to keep what we've got, and we just want to keep growing and improving.
You speak about that excitement, Michael. Can you feel that excitement all the way up in Edinburgh as well?
Yeah. I mean, I obviously still get to travel to games. I actually met John at Aldershot away, of all places, I'm sure, on a Tuesday night in London a few years ago. So no, I can feel the excitement, and I think I've obviously really missed not being able to get down to games in the northeast. My mum still lives in Hartlepool, so I can try and get down as often as I can. I think you can see the enthusiasm. You can see, whether it be on social media, the enthusiasm of the fans, and I guess, again, one of the things is in terms of sort of how does it all work is ultimately fans trying to make a contribution. And that can be, as small or as large as they choose it to be, but it's about trying to create that snowball effect. And it's amazing how, effectively every little does help. And what we want to do is try and make sure that funds that are raised are channeled into, effectively, as both Marty and John have said, is making sure we've got phenomenal facilities that ultimately the fans are proud of, and kind of want to utilize and want to, leverage. And it's just that sort of, snowball effect and that momentum. And so I can see it. I can see it on social media. I can see the numbers. I've tuned into pretty much every home and away game this season, which is clearly more than I've been able to do with my work commitments. And I've listened to commentators, both home and away. And I see, the numbers of people who are signing up to the streams is fantastic. We're just dying to get back in the stadium and give Dave and the team all that vocal support that ultimately they would undoubtedly get, and drag the ball in the net for the players with the support from the fans.
I was going to say, I can only apologise for the commentary this season. You must be that one fan that puts me on mute, aren't you?
All that. It's been very good, very good.
Appreciate it. You said it there, for fans getting involved. And John, I suppose we'll kind of tie it all up. And if fans are watching now and they're thinking, this sounds really good, how can we help? How can we get involved with the Heart of the Club 1908? What would your answer be?
Well, a lot of fans are already fundraising and have been and want to help. And this is an opportunity for them all for us all to get together. It's a consolidated effort. They'll have seen the launch by the time this goes out, and all we can ask really is visit the website, pledge, get involved, ask questions, support where you can, and offer suggestions. There's a lot of, other than us three, there's a lot of high-profile fans in the town that have also helped behind the scenes on this to make it a success. And I'm sure if everyone, gets behind it, just ask the questions, help if they can. We understand not everybody can help financially, but there's other ways of helping, and just offer suggestions, and I'm sure it's going to be a huge success.
Gents, thank you so much. If there's anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up, or are you more than happy with that? More than happy. Fantastic.
3 points this afternoon will do.
At that. Yeah. 3 points, another Luke Armstrong goal. That's all we can wish for. But gents, thank you so much, and thank you so much for explaining the Heart of the Club 1908, and enjoy the game. For the final part of the preview show, we're following up as we always do with an episode of Teammate, but this is a very special edition and one you don't want to miss. It will be live on our social channels tomorrow if you don't manage to catch it here. But this is Teammate, the Coaches Edition. Right, gents, welcome to Teammate, but in this case it's almost your squad members. We're going to have a little chat and discuss what you think about your squad members. Some of the questions you might think it's, one of your mates either besides you here, so you might want to dig someone out here who...
Wouldn't have thought so. Who wants to answer that first?
You go first. You go first. What we think?
It's got to be one of the tough ones.
Older ones.
One of the lids has got that in him. He's never said anything to anybody, well not to me anyway.
What is it about Lids? Did it surprise you that he was only captain for the first time in his whole Hartlepool?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that, to be fair.
I'm sure I've spoken to Lids about that. I'm not sure he's had it. He's had it at other clubs, and it's not really been something he's enjoyed. I don't think so. It's one of those where maybe he would rather be behind the scenes doing bits to keep things going as opposed to the one with the...
It's a tough one, man.
I was convinced that Lids had been captain when it was like his 500th game or something. I thought there's something going on, so I was surprised. I think, I don't know, manager-wise, maybe Ryan, maybe. He does some coaching with younger teams. Yeah. I don't think anyone else does.
Definitely no one jumping out, is it?
No.
Not whatsoever.
No. Should we move on from that one?
I think so. I think Vane would say that you've got a bit about yourself, and we have got some ugly players, by the way. I wouldn't suggest most of them.
Is that a question?
Could be pretty vain.
There's a few that have a right goal. There's a few that spend far too long. Got mentioned the other night. There was 3 headbands in the starting 11, which has been brought up.
Jamie Sturry, Claudio. and Ben.
Luke Armstrong.
Luke Armstrong, that's 4.
There's quite a lot.
It's something I never used anyway.
I think
Lids
is up there.
is going to be in
the quiz. The
probably
quiz,
like to say.
Surprisingly, well, maybe not surprisingly, everyone said Lids who's answered this question.
That quiz has to be immaculate.
He's always immaculate.
Regardless
Really. I won't say
of
vain.
And when you've played 500 plus games and played probably centre half for however many years, 15 years, and your first cut comes Wrexham away on a Tuesday night, that says that you look after yourself a little bit too much as centre half probably.
I don't think really.
It's hard at the
Are
minute
they? Because we get different pickups, don't
yeah.
we? So
There's one person who I've seen panic a bit of training, Mason. Mason's off,
Mason Bloomfield.
but he's often unaware that what the time he was meant to be there is. But he's jogged down the steps at training a couple of times on the mark. But other than that,
I hate people being late. I hate being late, so I'd rather be half an hour early than a second late. And they probably know that there are, like I say, some fines in place that are to keep people in track, but they probably know that that's, without saying it, that's one of my
pet peeves.
Yeah, bugbears really.
Any of you?
I would go along the lines of, if you're late for training the next day, you've had 24 hours to get here, so
Right.
there's like, there are going to be anomalies, but in the main, like I said, they're pretty good.
Any of your staff ever? We don't have Sweens or Rossi here either.
No, we're the first in. We've got no excuses. We're normally first in and last away.
Sucky sometimes a little bit
Oh yeah.
after the mark. Depends
Taking him out, yeah.
how much PlayStation he's had the night before.
Yeah.
Sucky's maybe the one I'd put there.
Yeah, probably is. Yeah, definitely.
Young lad, we'll
Yeah.
let him off.
they're not like often seen as they're coming from certain distances as well, are they? So they're a good grip on that. To be fair. Well, he's doing the jokes or is a clown? It's two different questions. Isn't it?
Both, I suppose. Who are you laughing with or who are you laughing at, I suppose?
I know we could pick a five-a-side
Well,
team.
I'm sure.
Name your 5-a-side team of class clones if you'd like.
No, I don't.
I don't. Some of them aren't the most intelligent, and I suppose the same names may have cropped up. Shelton, I'd imagine. Crawford, I'd imagine. Well, I wouldn't imagine. I think for certain.
Josh Mack's usually up to Summit. Josh Mack.
Yeah. They're probably a group that wasn't blessed with brains, if I'm perfectly honest. But that can be quite a sort of
Make for a laugh.
endearing feature, if you like.
Yeah.
Both agree with that? Yeah.
I can give the easy and the bland answer in the fact that they all give 100% because the demands that we put on them is such that there's nowhere to hide. So I said around being able to control variables that we can control as a management team, and Jake Cutler's come in and been brilliant with them in terms of knowing what the requirements are, so we can control trying to be the fittest team in the league. In order to do that, I think you need buy-in from players, and they now know what our expectations and what our standards are, and to be fair to them, they don't often need telling. We put, like I say, we put the data on groups so they can see who has worked the hardest, who maybe has had a little bit of a down day, but in the main, we always want to get to a point, and I think the supporters here will demand that players give their all, and I think we've got a team now and a squad now of, and like I say, a group in terms of staff and everything that will give everything and know that that's a bare minimum in order for us to have any success.
Jakey.
Boring answer, but
Yeah,
that's probably...
You can see it on the pitch, to be fair. I mean, Jakey, you look at all the stats and everything, is there always someone who's consistently at the top, or is there always someone who maybe you always know is going to go do a little bit extra in the gym after a session?
I think, like I said, that everything's different. Depends on the person, the position they play. So it's a lot easier for our midfielders, for instance, to run further and things like that. So, like I said, I think Gaffer's sort of nailed it there. As a group, they all know what we expect, and they all push each other. And we make everything into a little competition. So there is days where somebody's higher, the next day you might see that change. So I wouldn't like to pick one person out, because again, I think as a group, they've all got on with it, and the demands that we set day in, day out, they're being met by large proportions of the group, and that's probably the fairest answer to go with.
It's a tough one because I think lots of our. So if you look at like last year, you'd go someone like a Jimmy would be someone who you'd see something and go oof, and can do things that maybe others can't do. I think within the squad, we're pretty workmanlike in terms of the players. There aren't many players that. Again, maybe a Moles goes past people. You tend to see dribblers more than anything else. Moles,
a lot started to go on. I think Luke Williams show bits where they want people close to them and they can and go past them in tight areas. But like I said, most of ours, the strengths are in other areas. They can all do a bit, and we've probably not got one that's or one or two that are absolute sort of standout. But it tends to be that, like I say, the dribblers more than anything else.
The other lads mentioned Moles, and especially Moles' new pink boots with Luke Moore new 10 and the England badge on them. What as yourselves, what did you make of them?
I've not seen them since getting sent off at Weymouth. More than once at Weymouth, got sent off, and I've not seen him since.
Yeah, I don't think he dares bring them.
I think they were straight away placed towards the bin, and maybe. I'm not sure they went well with that yellow kit. I've got to be honest either.
No. I don't think they'll go well with anything. But yeah, I don't think you'll see him again after what he did with them.
No.
Jake's probably the most thingy to answer. He'll know for definite who the top three quickest are. I think I'd go if without him knowing stats wise, I'd go Timmy, Oatsy.
Jimmy Stowe's got a bit of a turn on him.
Yeah, but that's without knowing for certain. I'm assuming, well, Jake will be able to tell you exactly who the three quickest
are. His lid's up there, or
just out of the top three, I think. Yeah, I think off the top of my head, I think Timmy's up there. Oatsy, I'd say Claudio has got one of the top high speeds, but this season the fastest we've seen is Tyler McLaughlin.
I was just about to mention. I know Blackburn once done a race with him where he's recorded quicker than Mbappe, so obviously he's not.
I think they found out his first 10 metres was faster than Bolt's or something along those lines in his record. But no, Tyler's quick. Tyler was very quick. But now Timmy's up there, Claudio and Oatsy, when he gets going, he's some force to stop.
It's quite a new thing to have defenders who are so quick, especially when we play a back three, and obviously Cass has probably got a bit of pace about him as well. How much does that help for yourselves and as a defence when you have such a quick back three?
I'm not sure. It doesn't. Again, I suppose look at it the other way. If you're not quick, ultimately as a defender, forwards notoriously are quick. So you're going to be playing against someone that straight away has a physical advantage over you. I think the game's moved on, and it's the single most important physical stat or physical attribute you need at the very top end of the game. And look at the Premier League. All the players are athletes and all the players are quick, and it's like I say, an attribute that you can't really improve massively. You can work at it, but I suppose
if you're Lids, but no offence to Lids, because Lids will claim it himself, is it almost being smart as well when you probably don't have that?
That's different because you adapt your game, don't you? So if you're not blessed with pace from a young age, and most centre halves going back in the day wouldn't be, because the main sort of things they'd have to do would be defend and tackle and clear the ball and those sort of things. You have to adapt, so you've got to be, I suppose, quick in your mind and be able to read the game, what's going on. The hard bit for some of them will be the ones that ultimately are quick and they tend to lose that speed, and how your game has to adapt then, and how good you are at coming to terms with the fact that you aren't as quick as you once were.
So my question would be, if I put you three in a line in a 100-metre race, who would win?
I'd easily win that.
But I tell you what, let's add Sweens.
You on your bike?
On my bike.
Let's add Sweens and Ross to it as well, the 5 years. Who would win in a 100-metre race?
Not a question, I'm winning.
I should hope so. You're 15 years younger than the rest of us, you know what I mean?
Well, he went out this morning and he was back within 2 minutes.
Well, yeah, it's long
injured.
distance.
Yeah.
That might be the next video.
I'm quite happy to admit I wouldn't have won a race in my prime, so I'm not at 45. I'm not going to sort of.
There's a big age difference in there.
I'm not going to brag. I'm going to win anything now. No.
No, there's not. I think the one person they all wouldn't mess with is Feds, but that's for other reasons. That's for other reasons.
Well, I was just about to say my next question was Mr. Grumpy. So, but anyway, going back to Hard as Nails, a few of the lads have said Jono.
Yeah, I suppose you think it will be one of your centre backs. I don't think he's by any stretch a horrible kick his nan type player. He's a nice enough lad. I think part of, I suppose, being a defender is that you have to have that streak in you. If we were I suppose if we were sort of talking from a coaching's perspective, he probably needs to talk a bit more about it, and so do the rest of them really. Especially as a defender, you can't be nice. You have to try and get an advantage over the people, and you try to stop the people you're playing against. So being aggressive and being dominant is something that he needs to do, and they probably all need to work at it better. But he has got better at it in terms of where he's at. Sometimes we're guilty of it being, or setting the wrong example in terms of us saying we want what you said, be a ball playing centre, or want to step in with the ball. That doesn't mean we want you to do that at the sacrifice of not being a defender and not knowing when to kick the, I don't want to say kick people, but get yourself in there and win a tackle. But they all need to be better at it a little bit.
Another one I wouldn't want to play against is Oxy. He's not a nasty by any means, but he'll knock you over, he'll run at you again, he's relentless in what he does, and he is a powerful boy, so I think...
He just never seems to stop, does he?
Yeah, I think he's one of those where, for the time you're up and against him, that's going to be a tough time for you.
Agree with that, Joe?
Yeah, I think both of them, absolutely. Well, he said Fev gets a little bit of stick, but it's only because he wants certain standards, doesn't he? And he demands them, so he's only demanding it off the other players.
Is that what you like to see as well, though?
Absolutely. He's a leader in there for us at training, on and off the pitch. So it's not as if he's being grumpy, I think he's demanding things.
But we can clarify that off the pitch, Nicky Featherstone is not.
Absolutely fine.
Yeah. Both agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of the music's not up my street, but I think Ben's on it at the minute, is it?
Ben's the one.
Sheltoft, I don't know if it's Ben's phone, Shelt's...
In the last episode with Ben and Sheltas getting played on today's preview show, they both admitted that Ben sometimes has a few dodgy sounds, dodgy music.
Definitely not up my street, some of the stuff that goes on.
Some of the stuff after the game seems better than what's before the game, to be honest.
Lukey Williams
that depends on the result as well.
Yeah, of course it does.
Luke Williams had an input on that, I think. Luke's quite into his music, he loves a bit of that, so I think Luke's had an input in the after the match stuff.
So if you individually all had a chance to play one song or one artist, just to
asking, aren't you?
Then give me one.
A little bit of erasure for me. Perfect.
Before my time. I'm into the more upbeat stuff, but like I say, nothing in particular, but more the dance stuff, just to get the lads going and change.
I'm not into any of that stuff. I'd be like old schooly, something, I don't know.
Bit of the Beatles?
The Jam or something like that.
The Jam. Right, brilliant fellas. Thank you very much, I really appreciate it. That was teammates.
Cheers, Alex.
Cheers. So that is all we have time for here on the Pills Preview Show. Thank you so much for watching. Coming up next, here live in Victoria Park, Hartlepool United taking on Dagenham Redbridge. You can join myself and Adam Boyd as we talk you through all the action. Just before we get to that, with Adam Boyd on commentary, it seemed very fitting to look at his favourite 5 goals for Hartlepool United.
It down. And Robson belting that one clear, and it's come through for Boyd on the chase. There's a posse after him, still with Boyd, and he finds the finish. It's a second for Boyd, a second for Hartlepool, and a really well taken goal. Cool finish.
Really good defensive header by Reeves, more akin to a goalkeeper than central defender. And Hartlepool press again. They have a corner kick. Westwood heads it on. The goalkeeper gets it clear. Not that clear. Robertson back into the danger zone. Free header for Boyd. And Boyd. That could be the goal which sends Hartlepool United into the playoffs. Joy unconfined down at the Hartlepool end. Building up more momentum again here now. Boyd looking for another! And he has done it! Hartlepool are firmly in control of this semi-final now, with a double for Adam Boyd.
Winner came in injury time, but it was well worth the wait. 17-year-old sub Adam Boyd with the first-class finish. Manager Chris Turner showing his delight. That was Boyd's first ever league goal.
Hopeless for defenders. Westwood. Another mistake could let in Hartlepool. Here's Adam Boyd. Looking for the hat-trick, remember. Oh, nice bit of skill. Even better bit of skill. What a brilliant goal, Adam Boyd. What a way to get your first hat-trick. That was a sensational goal. 26 he's got for the season, and none of them will be as good as this one. That was near genius.